You know what time it is. It's midweek. You're listening to a podcast. It's your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast. I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
Recording here April the 17th, 2024. This will drop early tomorrow morning, April the 18th.
And for those of you who are of age, crack one open, pour yourself an adult beverage, settle in.
Keep it going for a couple days, because then on Saturday morning, we can get you through your hangover with the weekend edition.
Your Saturday morning hangover cure.
America's favorite politically incorrect pop culture podcast.
Boom. We got you covered everywhere.
That is right. We've got a fantastic weekend edition planned. We'll discuss that more later. But for now, start off with some racing this week. Let's start off with some racing. Let's look back at Texas Motor Speedway, the 9th race of the Cup season. And Mr. Popularity won! Mr. Popularity won!
Another lackluster race.
Yes, it was.
It was just, Nobody could pass. It was just lame. You kept waiting for whoever was going to hit the bump and have the back end cut out and put them in the wall.
And I got to tell you, I was really looking forward to this past Sunday between the Texas race, the final round of the Masters, and they were both...
Yeah, they sucked ass.
Everybody except Scottie Scheffler forgot how to play golf. We'll get to that later on Sunday at the Masters. And then the race, like you said, just boring beyond belief.
Yeah,
yeah, I know personally it sucked for you because you had Kyle Larson and he had the wheel issue.
Yeah,
and then time to leave me loose wheel. I do love DW for that.
Yeah.
For that and that alone. I love him.
That alone. Forget boogity, boogity, boogity.
Yeah.
The loose wheel reference is the best.
Yep.
And then talking about getting the vortex going to keep the rain away.
Okay, so Chase Elliott wins, so that means we've got another driver locked into the playoffs. Took 2 overtimes, but he got it done. And what helped him probably the most, I don't know how much weight we put into this, but his pit crew got an 8.49 second pit stop during the race, which is the fastest 4-tire pit stop during the mono-hub era. And of course, kids, if you don't know, a few years ago when they put in the next-gen car, the latest next-gen car, you've got one
center
huge
lug.
Yep.
Like they do in all other forms of racing, instead of having to do 5 lugs on every wheel.
So that's why you have to qualify this.
Right.
Obviously a phenomenally fast stop, but again, 1 lug versus 5 on each wheel. So good for him. I'm so happy that Chase Elliott is back.
I'm so happy.
Racing
really
is
don't
better
care.
again. It just stunk. Just like golf without Tiger Woods. Oh, wait. He's a train wreck. Never mind. But again, we'll get to that later. Sorry, not trying to use up all my Masters references right away.
It's one of those weeks, kids.
Yep. So, okay, Chase Elliott wins. Kyle Larson did win his 3rd consecutive pole and won a stage.
Won a stage, huge point for the playoffs.
For you, yep, and for him.
Yep.
And of course, Chase Elliott, by winning, snapped his 42 race winless streak,
which he brought upon himself, breaking his legs snowboarding. Dumbass.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You could kind of tell with the way he was running at the end of last year and at the beginning of this year
that he was
tentative. Something was off. Something was not right with him. But now he's probably got his confidence back. Now he becomes a viable contender for the Cup championship this year. Now, I found this fascinating with all the inner workings and the machinations going on behind the scenes with the media deal for NASCAR. the CW, we know next year getting the Xfinity Series, but they somehow got permission to take over NBC's feed. So
really, so whatever's on Peacock is going to simulcast on the CW?
Not right now. For the final 8 races, the last 8 races, the playoff races for 2024, even though those races will be technically produced by NBC, we'll have the NBC crew announcing the races. They will not air on NBC. They are going to be on the CW this year.
Damn, the CW is rolling.
Yep, so they take over Xfinity coverage earlier than expected. They will have the last 8 races of the 2024 season, again, exclusively.
Nice. Very cool.
Nice. It's going to be cool to hear some new voices,
we
different crew.
Need a different crew.
And everybody out there.
Please.
You guys know how we feel about NBC.
Please bring Alan Bestwick in.
Because I cannot stand NBC. And the fact that me, a guy who does not really particularly like Dale Earnhardt Jr., is telling everybody that the loss of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
destroys
is devastating NBC's coverage. That should tell you something.
Yeah. Not good there, kids. Not good. You know, if it's the Xfinity running on Saturday, they should make Bestwick and Logano would be a pretty damn good tandem
for next
in
year.
The booth.
Right, this year is still going to be the NBC guys.
But I meant just
right.
When he can, Logano, when the race weekends sync up, Logano would be great in the booth helping call those. But you want somebody solid who's available, get Bestwick.
Yep, of course. We were kind of sad to see SRX go, but he was doing that and did his usual phenomenal job. So,
we'll see what happens.
The CW is saying, hey, we're coming on.
Watch out.
You know, we tried
we don't have the streaming. We're going to be your over-the-air sports opportunity.
Yep, we tried all the low-budget stuff to appeal to the teenagers, and that worked okay for a while with Buffy, and then we had Supernatural, which was a hit. You know, now we're going full bore into sports.
There we go.
So there you go. Ballsy move by the CW.
Sports is where the money is.
So we move on to race 10 of the NASCAR Cup season. This Sunday.
The biggest, fastest track on the schedule.
Yep, April the 21st. It is the Geico 500 from Talladega.
The Dega dancing draft begins.
Yeah, this is a race with our competition. You just want to survive.
Yep.
25 points looks really good. Normally I would not say that.
If you can finish, it's a miracle.
Yes. And luckily, a lot of us, you and I, we have enough of a point cushion where we can take a little bit of a hit, but I still don't want a DNF.
No.
Do not want a DNF, like you said. Just finish the race, 20 points, 25 points, I'll take it.
Yep.
So that being said, Sam and Aaron and I are taking, I would say, the odds-on favorite, Ryan Blaney.
Yep, normally one that I would relish here. I want to use him further down the line. I do not want to take a chance at Dega with the big one. He's gotten caught up the last couple. So I'm going to swing for the fences and take probably what could be my one and only, depending on how it goes. I'm taking Mr. Bubba Wallace.
Which is a great pick. Really.
He runs very well on the restrictor plates. He tends to stay out of trouble. So we'll see if this pays off.
Yep, no, I don't dislike that pick at all. But like we were talking last week, where you started doubling up with Kyle Larson, And I said, I need one more week. Now I will start.
There you go.
And Blaney is usually the guy I go to on the super speedways. We've also got Bill with Tyler Reddick. Jen is going with Joey Logano. Nick going back to, I don't like this pick. Sorry. I don't like this pick.
Trying to go back to back on a restrictor plate is tough to do. I don't like the Chase Elliott pick by Nick.
Yep. And then Doug is taking Brad Keselowski. So I can see outside of Nick and Chase Elliott, and we're not trying to disparage Nick.
No, it's just it's so damn tough to try and go back. He
had a great pick last week with Brad Keselowski. Really good pick. Finished second. So, but yeah, I don't. If this happens, if Chase Elliott goes back to back and wins the second on a super speedway,
conspiracy.
Yeah, he's paying somebody off. I don't know where he's getting the money, but the juggler's getting he's traveling all the time. So.
That's right. So who knows what's going on?
Do we have to have a sports frenzy?
Intervention.
Betting investigation? Banned for life! Oh, no, wait, that's coming in a few minutes. Actually, let's do it right now.
Let's
cover
do it.
Let's just
roll right into it.
Moving on to the NBA, of course. The play-in tournament is in full swing. Night 2 of the play-in tournament just underway.
Boy, they'll make sure that the Lakers advance, won't they?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Of course, the great Meatloaf, Jim Steinman.
Yep.
But I watched some of that game last night. I did indulge for a little bit in basketball because I was very intrigued by the West. Of course, they had their first two play-in games last night. The East is tonight. But yeah, and Zion. Oh, my leg. Right at the crucial moment when they had a shot to possibly win the game, they have to go without their best player who was dominating. He put up 40 points last night. And, it just happens to work out for the Lakers and LeBron.
Ball.
Good luck with the Nuggets, bitch! How about that? Now you get the soon-to-be 3-time MVP, because Kendrick Perkins, that racist prick, can't influence the voting this year like he did last year. Why do we have to give it to a white guy? Well, guess what? The white guy's going to win again, Kendrick, and he's going to beat LeBron's ass. I have never wanted to root for the Nuggets more than I will root for them starting this weekend.
Go Nuggies.
Hey, some of them Nuggies. And then the other play-in game might have signaled the end last night of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history.
Yep, the Golden State Warriors lose, and not in a good way.
No, very, very poor shooting. Klay Thompson, who has kind of seen his skills erode very quickly because he's not really old.
No, but
coming back from his injuries a couple years ago.
Age is catching up with it's catching up with him.
Well, Klay Thompson's done. He's gone. He's got to be gone from that team. I imagine they'll want to keep Steph Curry, but he's starting to show some wear and tear. And that terrible trade they made for Chris Paul never worked out.
No, not good.
You still got the psychotic Draymond Green.
The loopy nut job that he is costs his team more than he helps.
Yep. So the one last play-in game that we are subjected to is not the marquee matchup that I think the NBA was hoping for. I think they kind of wanted the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. And now they're going to get the Sacramento Kings playing in New Orleans against the Pelicans without Zion Williamson. So I would be shocked if the Kings don't win that game.
Yeah, I would imagine they would.
They take the number 8 seed, and then they will take on the OKC Thunder.
Good luck.
Yeah, of course, OKC number 1 seed along with the Boston Celtics, who have had that wrapped up for, it seems like,
The
a
start
month
of the season.
at least. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Magic, my Magic, almost choked it away. Almost choked it away. They were almost stuck in the play-in tournament, but they lost 3 in a row. Then they finally won the season finale, got them to 47 and 35, locked up the number 5 seed. They did win their division, so they will be playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they gave up home court advantage. Hate that.
Hate to see that.
Hate that. A lot of people criticizing Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks for actually playing hard, beating the Bulls on the last day of the season, locking up the number 2 seed, which will probably get them a first-round matchup with either a healthy Joel Embiid and the 76ers or Jimmy Buckets and the Miami Heat. I'd rather be the Magic shoes, to be honest with you. I'd rather play Cleveland.
Yeah. I don't want anything to do with the Heat come playoff time.
No. But last year they went from the 8th seed and got to the finals.
Yep. Yeah, they hit a run.
And it's a fluke with the Sixers because of Embiid being hurt. But now that he's back, it's a different team.
So, just get in. Isn't that what they always say?
Yep. And considering the fact that 2/3 of the league have a shot at the playoffs,
it's not a big stretch.
I guess now we teased it. Now we should go on to
the ban
for life, which we saw coming. We talked about it a few weeks ago.
We questioned, did Adam Silver have enough balls to actually drop the hammer on Toronto Raptors Jonte Porter for betting on games and influencing the outcomes? And yes, Adam Silver did have the big alien balls and banned him from the league.
For life.
For life.
Lifetime ban. It's so egregious. Everything that we're finding out about this was ridiculously, unbelievably egregious.
Yeah, how much he impacted things. And he bet on at least 13 games himself. You do not bet on your own league.
Nobody ever said that these players were smart.
This is true.
As we have pointed out time and time and time again. In other NBA news.
So sad.
It's not sad. He's an idiot.
No, like you said, sad that these guys think that they can get away with it.
Criminals always think they can get away with it. They always think they're smarter. And what makes a great heist picture? Where they finally figure it out and they finally figure out how to beat the police and how to beat the authorities. Because it never happens in real life.
No.
They're always going to catch you.
There's always something that happens.
Yep. All right, another NBA news. We made fun of the Hall of Fame here recently.
The participation hall.
Well, because I started to do the math. Okay? I started to do the math and started thinking about how many of those players and the executives and the off-the-court guys got in after we debated who was going to get in. They all got in, right? They all got in.
They all got in.
It's like 9 or 10 people got in, at least.
When we had 3, maybe 4?
Yeah, we were debating whether Walter Davis maybe might get in. Would Michael Cooper get in? Oh, yeah, no problem. No problem. So now I preface what I'm going to say with this discussion that we had. Because, again, I did the math. I started looking at what is a regular roster size for an NBA team? What, 15, 13 active, 2 injured, I believe?
Something like that.
How many players on a baseball team? Is it now 27, 28? I think they expanded
27.
Recently. Something like that. Close.
Somewhere
as long
around
as we get
there.
close. How many on a football team? 53?
53. Yeah, the 53-man roster.
Right. Baseball barely lets anybody in.
Yeah.
All right? Football, usually 5 to 7. Basketball of the three, I'm not going to count hockey. Basketball of the three, smallest roster, most get in. So I put this forward to you as he retired this week. Is Blake Griffin
Oh my
a
God.
Hall of Famer?
No.
He'll get in. How much do you want to bet?
He'll get in. He shouldn't.
This is what I'm saying. The
God.
NBA is the worst.
Yeah,
They are the
pretty
worst at
damn
this.
bad.
They will put everybody and anybody in now. You want to talk about compilers? Blake Griffin is a compiler.
Yeah, he never had a great season. Never had a great career. Injury plagued. He had everything was there for the taking, and he couldn't stay healthy.
Right. And never led a team. And this is another thing about basketball that drives me crazy. Never even came close to leading a team to a championship.
Yeah, barely could make the playoffs.
Right. So my prediction, Hall of Famer. Probably first ballot. Probably first ballot.
Is this name recognition?
Yeah.
Coming out of
Because Vince Carter got in this year, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think Vince Carter's career was so exceptional
It wasn't.
that he should have gone in right away.
No, he was okay.
Again, did not really have an impact on a franchise to the point where they were like Steph Curry, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no
Obviously,
question.
LeBron, first ballot Hall, despite the fact I hate him.
But you have to recognize he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
But some of these guys, I'm like, are you kidding me? Speaking of a future Hall of Famer, this guy, I can see it, and I don't have a problem with it. But we talked here about Zion Williamson being injured, which will probably ham the Kings, the 8th seed. Well, on the Eastern side, the 3-6 matchup for the Indiana Pacers, they're all of a sudden becoming a little bit of a hot commodity here because they are an offensive dynamo.
They've got some talent.
Yes, and even in this day and age of no defense, and again, watching some of that last night, oh my God, they don't play a whit of defense.
No, and that's
whatsoever.
Pathetic. What's the adage? Defense wins championships.
Yeah, and look at the Pistons, the bad boys. The Bulls played defense.
Yeah.
The Warriors were probably the first team.
Yeah, even
that had a dynasty. The Spurs played defense.
Even the Showtime Lakers could play defense. Their foils, the Celtics of the 80s, could play defense.
Right. And again, watching what I saw last night,
the Knicks could play defense.
We admit it. Yeah, they didn't win a championship, but Pat Riley, that was a nasty, dirty team. Now, it was ugly basketball, but they played defense. But watching what I saw, again, we've talked about this in the past. We don't watch a lot of NBA. We just don't. We report on it. We do it because we're a full service, politically incorrect podcast about sports. But yeah, they just sit around and say, make the three. If you can make the three, take it. If not, we're going to rebound it and go back down, and we'll do the same thing.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
We'll launch.
That's
what
the game is now, and that's
launch and rebound. Launch and rebound.
And we talked about this last week. This is why the 2-time college basketball player of the year, just like the other guy who won it twice, Ralph Sampson, here current day, Zach Edey of Purdue, they don't want him because his game does not translate to the pros because why?
He's an inside game.
Can't shoot a three.
But who can stop his hook?
Yeah, but the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are long past.
That's a way to break the cycle.
We'll see. I'm rooting for him. I really am. I hope he somehow gets in the right situation and he proves all the doubters wrong. I really do.
I would like to see that.
But anyway, long story short, short story long. Pacers taking on the Bucks in the 3-6 matchup in the East, and they might have an advantage. as it looks like Giannis Antetokounmpo, future Hall of Famer, will not be available at the beginning of the series.
No, he's still dinged up.
So the Pacers could pounce on this one.
Pounce, pounce, pounce.
Dave, don't you love it when people we hate
Get
fall
their
bass
comeuppance?
backwards
Oh.
into good luck and money? See, you're thinking positive. You know goddamn well I'm thinking negative. The guy we like to call the tripper, the day tripper, the night tripper,
the asshole,
of course, started off being a nasty, dirty player at Duke and has somehow become a viable, successful bench player in the NBA. Yes, Grayson Allen.
Oh, I can't stand that fucknut.
Gets rewarded with a 4-year, $70 million extension with the Phoenix Suns.
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Now, another guy who got paid, keeping the Celtics' current core of players intact, Drew Holiday gets a 4-year, $135 million extension.
Max money.
I'm just very jumping ahead because this is what you got to do with the NBA. I'm very intrigued to see if we get a Nuggets Celtics final. That'll be very cool. See how the Celtics play. Do they win the title? Validating, giving Drew Holiday and
that much
having Porzingis come in. It's worked so far. It has worked so far.
Now they just have to seal the deal.
And then finally, wrapping up the NBA, I think
That's way too damn much time on the fucking NBA.
No, we're almost done.
I'm bored with this.
This is why I saved the best for last. I saved the best for last, Dave. You'll appreciate this little nugget. There is a new statue that just got unveiled. Not like a big life-size statue, but kind of like a smaller one on a pedestal, probably about 4 or 5 feet.
What's misspelled on this one?
No, it's not like the Kobe Bryant one. New statue at the 76ers practice facility.
Oh my God.
Guess who it is? Practice? We're talking about practice? The irony, the lovely irony of the fact that the 76ers put a statue of Allen Iverson outside of their practice facility is just awesome. Just awesome.
That's ludicrous.
Oh my God. That's hysterical. And there's another guy I hated.
You know,
he was
in the dictionary under irony, that's what you find.
And he's another guy I could never stand. Compiler, yeah. Now he got to 1 NBA Finals with the Sixers. But come on.
No, he wasn't a leader.
No, that is one of the most infamous press conferences of all time for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He was like the poster child for the snowflake generation.
For what not to do as a professional athlete.
Yeah, and unfortunately, most of them, it seems like, have followed in his footsteps. So there you go, kids. That's the NBA. Next up, yes, it's about time. We're going to talk Major League Baseball. All right, so normally now when we get into the summertime, baseball will more often than not be the number one topic, but we decided to push it back a little bit because the way things were working, we wanted to see how the White Sox finished up.
Yes, they had a doubleheader today as we tape here on April 17th. They'll drop Thursday the 18th. Doubleheader at home against the division-leading Royals. So, of course...
Well, now it might be. But Cleveland, I think Cleveland was...
No, Cleveland is still because they have 2 fewer losses. Same number of wins.
Right.
coming in.
Which
But
shocks me. It shocks me that Cleveland is this good after
yeah,
losing their top pitcher for the year, not
Cleve,
spending any money.
it's a crappy division, but the Indians know how to run an organization and develop talent. They are one of the smart groups out there.
Yeah, and this
So
is now happening even without Terry Francona, who they had for so long managing,
yeah,
steering that ship. So you knew you had one of the top 3 or 4 managers in the league. Now
they're just rolling right along.
Yep.
So, but the Sox and the Royals split. Royals win the first game 4-2, and the White Sox win the second game 2-1. Why is that significant? The Sox still average 2 damn runs a game.
Yeah, we're 18 games into the season.
And they've scored 38 runs. Absolutely pathetic. It's skewed that way because last week they had back-to-back games where they put up 7 runs. 14 runs in 2 games. That helped their average. So pathetically bad. So awful.
Yeah, and this is baseball for you. This is modern day baseball where you've got the haves and you've got the have-nots. You've got the teams that are going to field a high-priced, high-level team, and you've got the teams,
the owners who are assholes and could care less.
Yeah, and this year it looks like it's the White Sox, the Marlins, and the Rockies. By far and away, the 3, even the A's this year, now that they know what their future is to a certain extent, they're playing better.
Yeah, they're not in the basement of their division. That's the Astros.
Which
boggles the mind.
Biggest shock, easily biggest shock of the year. You could talk about the Dodgers not blowing the doors off yet. I don't worry about that. They could stumble ass backwards drunk into winning that Western division in the National League. Yeah. But I mean, the Astros, we both had them, I believe, in the World Series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you thought the talent's there. Yes, Dusty's gone, but their bench coach takes over. You would think everything would just keep rolling right along.
Natural progression.
Anything but.
Nope. And now they get Verlander back this weekend. I don't know. Is that going to be enough of a jolt? But the thing is, it's not injuries, really.
No, they're just
Hader has turned out to be a bad signing initially, bringing in that big-time closer. That was their one really big expenditure this offseason. And I wanted him with the Cubs.
Yeah, and that's not looking too good right now.
So they have plenty of time to rebound.
There's too much talent there for them to finish low. And they're not out of it. They're only 4.5 out.
Right, because everybody in that division is basically playing mediocre baseball.
Yeah.
Even though the defending world champion Rangers, I believe, are 500 right now.
Yeah, 10-9.
Okay, there you go.
So right there. So we will see how it rolls.
Oh, did you notice? Speaking of that division, did you notice how once every 5 or 6 years, Mike Trout's healthy and he starts putting up MVP numbers?
Yeah,
we're talking about compilers, right?
Yep. And
the ultimate compiler.
The ultimate compiler, because he does it all within the first half of the season. And then as you get closer to All-Star break or just after, boom, he's hurt and done for the season.
Watch, he will put up a monumental year. He'll stay healthy this year.
2 weeks before the All-Star game, he's going to go down for a month.
No, I think he'll stay healthy this year.
Will
stay. This is what he's going to do. He's going to lock in his Hall of Fame credentials. Could win another MVP. Now, I don't think he's enough for that team. I don't think even if he puts up 50 homers and drives in 150 and hits 300, there's nothing around him now that they've lost Ohtani, where I think the Astros will get better and pass them. I think the Rangers obviously will still be up there.
Yeah. Now, the Angels, they're not going
And the
anywhere.
Mariners always get hot late.
Yeah. So they're stuck in mediocrity because they put the money into the wrong players.
Now, my Cubs, doing all right. I am not unhappy. They have had now in the last week and a half a couple games where they really could have been phenomenal in terms of record. They could be 13-5, but instead they are 11-7. They blew an 8-0 lead. We talked about this last week because last Monday in San Diego blew an 8-0 lead and lost. And then last night, as we're taping,
on the 16th. Good Lord.
What was it, 12-11?
Yeah, they lost in extra innings
to the Diamondbacks. And I said, I fucking told you so. Now, I know you said you listen to a lot of Chicago sports radio, and they said it as well. But I'm telling you, I said this, and we've got the transcripts. We've got the podcast episodes out there where I said, get me bullpen help.
Yeah, you
get
need
me
bullpen arms.
Now, I did not expect Justin Steele to get hurt. I did not expect Kyle Hendricks to absolutely fall off the table like he has. But I did say, get bullpen arms.
Yep, that was a big point of discussion.
And they brought in Hector Neris, which I liked, but they needed more.
Yeah.
And I still don't know if Alzolay is the answer as a closer because he's got as many blown saves as he has saves.
Yeah, so the Cubs bullpen is their weak link right now.
And what Counsell is trying to do, and again, right now, 3 weeks into the season, worth every goddamn penny for having this team at 11-7 right now. Just took 2 out of 3 from the defending National League champion Diamondbacks. Half game behind, ironically, the Milwaukee Brewers. And good for Pat Murphy, rooting for Pat Murphy to finish second in the division. Yeah. but he's lost Seiya Suzuki to an oblique. Again, Steele gone, Tyone gone. What a terrible fucking signing Jameson Tyone has been. Yeah, what an awful signing he's been. So
he's stealing money this year.
Yeah, Counsell is trying to piece together this pitching staff.
He's throwing guys out there trying to find out what they can and can't do.
And I'll say this, and I'm still not a big fan of his, but because he's making $10 million, I think it's too much. But Drew Smyly, for being able to throw him in for 3 or 4 innings wherever you can, help me, he's actually worth the money this year.
Yeah, he's earning it this year, keeping him in play.
Yeah, I mean that's what Counsell's doing. He's throwing guys in. Today it was Wesnecki for 4 innings after Jordan Wicks, again, didn't look all that good either. You take away Imanaga and you take away Assad, you got nothing in terms of starting pitching right now with the Cubs. And they're still only a half game out of first place at 11-7.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see how everything falls for them. The big key is getting Steele back. And then what the hell do you do with Hendricks?
Yeah, and everybody knows I love Kyle Hendricks.
Every Cubs fan loves the professor.
But you got to cut bait at some point in time. And I'm telling you, you give him one more start. His ERA is over 12 right now. That's unacceptable times 10.
You just can't do that.
You're just going to have to cut bait, pay him his $16.5 million, and because nobody's going to take him on a trade.
No, DFA him.
You're going to have to open up the roster spot and try to get another young pitcher in there and get him some innings in preparation for October. Now, of course, this past Monday, April the 15th, a great, great day in baseball. Of course, Jackie Robinson Day, where everybody wore 42 in honor of the late, great Jackie Robinson. And, of course, it was also Patriots Day in Boston.
Tax day.
Why you gotta be such a downer, Dave? I was trying to make the people feel good. Jesus. Here I am trying for once in my life to be a positive source for everybody, and you got to bring everybody down.
It's all right. I'm going to have the positive story on the weekend edition. Talking about what April 14th was. So if you want to find out, you have to tune in.
Now, in other MLB news. Now, last week, I do believe we touched on the fact that we hadn't heard much about the whole Shohei Ohtani scandal.
The betting investigation.
Oh, now it's all wrapped up. It's all good.
There's that's wrapped in a bow tie. His interpreter's taking the heat on everything.
Yep, so Ippei Mizuhara is now free on $25,000 bond, which I find ridiculously low.
I know, seriously.
Considering
what the hell? How much did he steal?
That's the thing. I think we're dealing with some shady math here. Because initially we were talking about, what, $3.5, $4 million?
Yeah.
That's what he lost in total.
Yeah.
His overall bets, we're looking like more like 16 million is what I'm looking at here as I crunch the numbers. He is negotiating a plea deal with the feds on theft charges. And again, I'm seeing a number looking more like 16 million.
That he's embezzled.
Yes. So, again, amazing.
Losing 3-4, that means he's won 12.
I'm going to just say this, kids. Normally, I would say we do the research, but when it gets this far in the weeds, you guys go check it out. You make your own
conspiracy decision on this.
Yes. You figure out what you think this guy stole, allegedly.
There's too many conflicting reports and bad new math involved.
Yes, and I'm telling you, the numbers...
They're covering something up here.
The numbers involved here are well beyond what was initially reported.
Yeah, this still stinks to high heaven.
Yeah, and again, conservatively, what I'm seeing now is 4 times what we were initially told. Conservatively, he probably stole 16 million.
Ridiculous.
And again, you do the research. You look at what he won, what he lost. That number could even be
higher,
astronomically higher. Because if he stole X amount, but he won Y amount, and then the difference could be this 16 million. But he stole X.
Yeah.
Just because he won Y, he won Y back.
Doesn't matter. He still stole X.
Right. So that's why I'm telling you this number could be a lot higher. And again, $25,000 bond.
That's it. That's ridiculous. But that's
Donald Trump opens his mouth. In his current case, he gets fined $25,000.
I mean, that's California for you, isn't it?
Jesus God. Something stinks about this, I'm telling you.
Something way, way wrong.
And everybody, Shohei, you can tell he's so innocent. He doesn't understand what happened to him.
Oh, bullshit. Stop playing the poor Shohei
God help
card.
me, people. Will you check your credit cards and your checkbook once in a while? Because obviously Ohtani didn't. I think I might notice.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of dollars missing from my bank account.
Yeah. And where's his accountant?
That could be another piece of the puzzle.
Where's the accountant?
I wouldn't be shocked if somehow an indictment comes in on him. Just saying. Could be another edition of We Fucking Told You So coming up in the next couple weeks. Now, let's stay with the baseball crime blotter, shall we?
Sure, why not?
And I admit, because I am a cynical bastard, that I have been behind Trevor Bauer. I have been trying to tell everybody
there's
in this
more
bullshit
going on.
In this bullshit he said, she said situation where she said this, and that's all that matters, and what he said doesn't. Well, guess what? Maybe now maybe now you will listen to the maestro. Because one of the accusers,
Woman number 3, wasn't it, in Arizona?
Darcy Esamanu, in Arizona, you are correct, sir, indicted for felony fraud and theft by extortion charges because she made up a story about being pregnant and getting an abortion to get money out of Trevor Bauer.
And he didn't play.
And I think it's an absolute. Now, he's made more money in his life than any of us will ever see. So, yes, I know, cry me a river for Trevor Bauer, and he still might not be that nice of a guy. But that does not excuse the fact that I think he's been getting played by the system here.
Oh, he's been a victim of the Me Too movement.
And again, I'm not. It's just like Kevin Spacey, scumfuck beyond belief. But some of the stuff that he was accused of didn't end up being true. Sometimes an easy target is actually not
the one you want to go after.
Well, and it's not the target is not completely and totally at fault.
Right.
I hope Trevor Bauer Cubs, Jen Horner, call him now. God damn it, call him now.
I'm surprised White Sox haven't gone after him yet because they brought in Trailer Park.
Clevenger. Is he still working his way back?
Yeah.
Getting his arm back up to strength?
If you're going to have a vile pitcher, why not have somebody who's got the vile history in the courts?
Yeah, Clevenger's always been pretty much a mediocre pitcher, whereas at least Bauer's been Cy Young level.
Yeah, Clevenger's been a D-bag at every stop.
I will just be very, very curious to see which team jumps. Which team will be the one to take the PR hit, which they shouldn't really have to take anymore.
No.
All the hashtag Me Too women out there, why don't you talk to Darcy and ask her what happened?
Yeah. Not saying that every situation is that, but you have to wait for the day in court.
And the guy is not always at fault.
No.
The guy is not nearly ever always at fault. And I don't care if you like that or not. Kiss my ass.
It takes two to tango.
And then, of course, the New York fans in mourning because their beloved, the Yankees' beloved radio voice, John Sterling, had to abruptly retire after 36 seasons in the booth. So no more cheesy home run calls.
Oh, God. Thank you.
Don't know for sure who will permanently take over, but it is one of the most prestigious jobs in all of baseball.
If you say so.
So let's do like we did with basketball. I ended basketball on a high note. Let's end baseball on a high note, shall we?
Sure.
And then, of course, after that, you can tell the kids where they can find us all over the podcast universe. Comeuppance is finally arriving for one Scott Douchebag Boris. The clients are finally dropping him.
Yes!
Jordan Montgomery said, all right, bullshit.
You fucked me over.
Now, Jordan Montgomery, ironically, going to make his debut this Friday. But he, Cody Bellinger, you could say J.D. Martinez, although he's got health issues, so
yeah,
they might have sold the Mets a bill of goods on him. But Blake Snell, again, terrible start for him.
Well, they couldn't focus on really prepping because they weren't with any teams because of their asshole agent.
Right, all they were doing was, throwing in the backyard, basically.
Because dumbass Boris playing his mind games.
And now, hopefully, finally, this all comes to fruition, and we get him out, and then
push him away,
and then people can finally start negotiating in good faith and signing reasonable contracts for both sides, and we don't have to listen to dip-fuck 4th grade limericks at press conferences anymore.
Where you've got one team interested and he creates a phantom team out of nowhere to try to get you to out-negotiate yourself.
Yeah,
Just a vile, evil individual.
Yes, and I hope Jordan Montgomery gets a good year under his belt here for the Diamondbacks. I hope he pitches well, and then he gets a nice, reasonable 3 or 4 year deal next year for $100 million, which is what, about 25 a year.
Yeah,
that's about what he should expect.
That's still too damn much to play a game.
Well, and again, we discussed the decline of the starting pitcher and how right now we're looking at 150 wins maybe as the benchmark.
If you can get that far. Most pitchers aren't going beyond 4 1/3, 4 2/3.
Jordan Wicks today for the Cubs barely made it through, I think, 4 1/3.
So everybody's bailing early. Guys are not going to get any decisions because they're not going to the 5th inning.
Nope. But we discussed this last week, and I'm sure we'll discuss it again.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yep. Once Verlander and Scherzer are done and they go to the Hall of Fame, that's it. They got over 200 wins, and that benchmark's going to be gone now. Burley.
Why isn't he in?
I think he's going to start getting a groundswell of support.
He's got over 200 wins. He's had over 200 innings pitched almost every season. He's got no hitter, perfect game. He's got a World Series. He's got the win in the World Series. He's got a World Series save. He was a stalwart for how long?
Yeah, I am getting behind Mark Burley because if now the standard is shifting this drastically, God damn it, put him into. Because if it's going to drop to 150 games, 150 wins to get you in the Hall of Fame, Burley should be in. So hopefully his eligibility will not run out before these dip fucks who vote realize
how damn good he was,
especially in the current situation.
And being the Sox fan, how many games he pitched giving up losing games 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, or having the bullpen blow it for him. Always kept the team in. Very rarely got shellacked.
Yep. So I'm with you on that. If this is the future of baseball, let's start rewarding these guys who have been in this transitional period with the 200, 210, 215 wins. Because Scherzer and Verlander are locks.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't Burley be in? All right, Dave. I know people can listen to us somewhere, but where can they listen to us?
You can find us on Spotify, Google, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known, of course, as iHeartRadio. Still not sure about Google. Not sure if Google still exists
on the
or not.
Fence. Who knows?
They might be, once I get confirmation. Of course, Spotify, our host platform, not really good about telling us. I believe they still show Radio Public as one of the options, which we know has been long gone. But don't forget to check out the Facebook page as well. Weekly NASCAR picks, weekly baseball picks, and of course, once we get to football season, each and every week, football picks. Speaking of the NFL, couple little tidbits. This is right now the down part. Now things will ramp up with the draft.
Next week.
Yep. It's time for the draft next week. Tradition for Sports Frenzy, where we get together for the draft. So that is coming up as you listen to this on Thursday morning in one short week. And of course, as Bears fans, we are looking forward to this because this is it. This is the last gasp, the last chance to prove that we can
maybe
draft
do something smart.
Yes. get a quarterback that could define us for 10 to 15 years, like Green Bay does every fucking 15 years. Maybe
Please,
it's our turn finally.
Let's turn the trend in our favor.
For once.
Please.
For once. Tom Brady might not be done. Tom Brady, in a recent interview,
when asked, would you consider coming back late in the season if there's an injury and the team needed you?
Oh yeah, I'd probably do it, but I don't know
if I would be allowed being a co-owner of a team.
Right, because they're in the final stages of him taking over as a part owner of the Raiders.
Yeah.
But you notice how he doesn't mention anything about Fox?
No. There's nothing about his
Oh yeah, I got the broadcasting thing coming up too.
Nothing about that.
Because you know what he'll do? If somehow the ownership thing got resolved or he pushed that back so he could play, he would just, where's Greg Olson? Get Greg Olson. Have him fill in for me. Get my little bitch. And of course, Greg Olson, we love him, and he's just getting treated so badly in this whole situation.
He got hosed on this whole thing.
I've got to believe this is all talk, though. I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back. I don't believe it.
No,
I don't believe it. Now, the Eagles, of course, ended last season on a down note, really just fell off the table, lost a lot at the end of the season, barely made the playoffs, got beat by my Buccaneers. So now Philly fans hate Nick Sirianni, their head coach, supposedly. And this is a make or break year for him, despite the fact he was just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Almost won it.
Yeah. Well, what? They lost their offensive coordinator, so they brought in another one.
And their defensive coordinator.
Both coordinators. So now we're on to another offensive coordinator.
Yep.
So Jalen comes out, I want stability, damn it. And that's all any quarterback wants, is stability at the coordinator position.
Well, he now has stability at the wide receiver position because they have extended Devonta Smith through 2028.
That's a good thing for him.
So, of course, they pick up his fifth-year option on his rookie deal and then give him 3 more years at $75 million with $51 million guaranteed. So that'll probably piss off A.J. Brown, but...
oh well. Smith has shown he is a reliable receiver.
It'll be interesting to see it down the road if they turn the tables and turn... Because right now, you got to say Devonta Smith is the number 2.
Yeah.
Behind A.J. Brown. But A.J. Brown's getting to be a little bit of a... I hate saying a bitch. He's complaining.
He's starting to become that prima donna.
Stephon Diggs?
Yes.
Where the Bills actually paid extra to get him out of town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does it say that the Texans already said after this year he can be a free agent? It's because they know he's a head case.
And we know this goes back years and years and decades to the likes of Terrell Owens. The prima donna receiver has been around for decades.
Yep, and it's only getting worse.
All right, so again, that's a little taste of the NFL. One of the few down weeks of the season when it comes to news. But, as we mentioned, next week, next Thursday, the draft. We will get together, Dave and I and the Elder Statesman, 3 of the 8 panel members will get together. So in 2 weeks,
recap,
maybe possibly, yes, a recap. Oh, that's my jury duty week, so
who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're not going to sequester you. Come on.
I just don't want to go in at 10
bitch.
in the morning hungover after the podcast. Yes, I'll do whatever. Just make the pounding in my head stop.
Does it really matter?
Let him go. I don't care if he killed 4 people. Just give me a couple Tylenol. But we will have you covered our draft preview episode next week and our draft recap the week after that. Of course, hoping again for great, glorious things from the Chicago Bears. And you can't say that without starting to laugh at the end of it.
Because when have we ever had a great draft?
The best the Bears have ever done is they do a better job in the second and third round normally.
Yeah.
That's where they get guys like Matt Forte.
They've done some damage in the fifth and sixth as well.
Yeah. Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but never the first round. Given the Bears a first round pick is like giving a 2-year-old a loaded handgun. That's what it is. Sorry, but that's what it is. You know I'm right.
You are.
But anyway,
the last great first round pick that the Bears have had.
Oh God, don't put me on the spot on that. I couldn't tell you.
How far back do you have to go?
You and I off mic were talking about the debacle, the Chris Williams pick, the tackle from Vanderbilt, as we were hoping that Joe Alt
will fall to us
this year, get a plug-and-play 10-year, no doubt, left tackle to protect our quarterback.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how the idiots drafted a guy who had back issues and they knew was going to have back surgery. Oh! Never in the first round. The Bears never, ever, ever seem to do anything right in the first round. But again, next week will be the final chance you get to listen to us rant and rave before the actual draft. Now, in basketball, on the college front, the women. I will dare say this might be the last time for a long, long time you hear us talk about women's basketball. But the WNBA draft, as you expected, did great numbers on Monday night. Caitlin Clark, of course, goes number 1 to your Indiana Fever. Very happy. Can't believe I care, but very happy she's going to be here in Indianapolis. And I guarantee, as much of a hotbed for basketball as Indiana is, they will do everything and anything they can to keep her around for her entire career.
Yeah. Now with who I can't think of her name right now, but who they drafted last year, they now have a solid inside-outside game.
Right, because they had the number 1 pick last year, too. Yep. Now, a lot of people are making a big stink about, you see how much she's going to get paid? It's not fair. Okay. In this one particular case, it's probably not fair. I think she's going to get paid $75,000, $80,000 max.
There's no money in the WNBA.
It's subsidized by the NBA.
Because nobody goes to the games.
Now that could change.
Maybe it will. She's looking at making her money in endorsement deals, much like she did with the NIL in college.
We heard the same crap from the soccer players, and purple hair Megan Rapinoe, the angry lesbian. We don't make enough money. You don't make as much money as the men because you don't bring in as much as the men.
Which is sad because the women's team was so damn much better than the men's team.
Yes. True.
I mean, facts are facts with that one. That's a given. The men's national team sucks balls.
In here, Caitlin Clark, yes, she deserves more than $75,000, $80,000 because she is going to bring a lot of new eyeballs on the TV, especially since almost all of the Indiana Fever games will be televised nationally on some channel somewhere. So yes, technically in a fair world, she should get more money, but it's just not the way it works. Look at baseball. You can have a star pitcher, a young star pitcher, right from the get-go, and he's got to go through arbitration 1, arbitration 2, arbitration 3.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's just the system in the particular sport we're talking about. Moving on to the men, the one big headline for NCAA basketball for the men this week, of course, we have a new head coach at Kentucky. Good luck dealing with that.
Good luck, Chuck. Oh, wait, that's not his name.
No, it's Mark.
Good luck, Mark.
Mark Pope. Now, he played for Kentucky on one of their previous national championship teams. Head coach for BYU. I don't really recall BYU being an absolute stellar program.
No, but like we discussed last week, everything is cyclical. Programs go through their ups and downs. And you know what? Sometimes shit happens and your traditional blue chips are going to fall on hard times.
And it was very telling, the lack of interest.
Yeah, nobody wanted to go to Kentucky.
When I heard Scott Drew's name come up from Baylor, thought that seems like a perfect fit for him, a nice jumping point from what he's done with Baylor. And he said, "Nope, I'm good.
I'm got something good going here at Baylor.
I'm good.
I'm building something."
And that's when I went, "Oh God, they don't have any options now.
No,
they don't." And then you heard the ridiculous pie in the sky rumors about Jay Wright. Jay Wright's too smart. Jay Wright is too smart.
There's no way he was going to go.
No, he's got his 2 titles with Villanova.
Now
he's sitting in a cozy little chair.
He doesn't have to deal with the BS.
Doing the commentary, yeah. That's why Calipari left. He's like, I'm going to stay in the SEC. I'm just getting away from these nut job Kentucky fans.
Yeah.
And the boosters.
The boosters is the big thing that you get away from.
Right. Moving on to hockey. Dave, it's almost over for you. It's almost over.
Yeah, but the future's looking bright. So we got Nazik. What the hell was his name? First game after signing, after Michigan lost in the Final Four, kid scores his first goal on his first NHL shot.
Wow.
Awesome, awesome thing. So, future's looking good. Just need a couple more guys to come up, and then I think 2 years of the Hawks should start to turn things around.
Of course, Blackhawks with 1 game left as the season ends. Thursday the 18th, when this drops, Blackhawks are 23-53-5, 51 points. Will not catch the Ducks, but will remain ahead of the San Jose Sharks, so they will not be the worst team in the NHL this year.
Woohoo!
Have not got official word yet, but it's kind of sort of official. They've told the players, I guess. We discussed it last week. The Arizona Coyotes moving to Utah. Once you tell the players, just go ahead and make it official.
Yeah, just be done with it.
They've been dragging their feet on this all week. I thought we were supposed to get an official word on this, but maybe they're going to wait till Friday once the regular season is over.
Yeah, why take away from the final playoff push for these teams? Just make the announcement after.
And then on the college front, the Frozen Four. Denver beats Boston College 2-0. Denver wins their 10th hockey title, the most all-time passing Michigan.
Good. Good to see Michigan taken down a notch.
You're not bitter much.
Go blow. I mean,
Dave's not bitter much. Not at all.
Michigan. As our buddy Jamie taught his youngest daughter many, many moons ago, Michigan. They suck, they suck, they suck, they suck. 2 years old, she's running around through a store after she sees a Michigan t-shirt.
They suck, they suck, they suck, they suck. Wow, I've never had that kind of animosity for the Wolverines, but then again, I don't like Notre Dame either, so.
There you go.
Let's stay with hockey for my one. Clint Eastwood, Badass of the Week. This week, the award goes to one Andrew Podolak, who, you might ask, is Andrew Podolak. Well, now, I don't know. There's so many different levels of minor league hockey. We've got a ton of minor league hockey teams around here. Fort Wayne, Grand Rapids, all over the place.
Indy.
So let's head to Cleveland. The Cleveland Monsters. Andrew Podolak sitting in the stands watching a Cleveland Monsters hockey game. A puck shot over the partition. Sitting next to him, a young woman with her 4-year-old son. Of course, a 4-year-old not really aware of
what's going on.
So Mr. Podolak had the reflexes and the smarts, seeing that the puck was headed straight for the head of said 4-year-old.
Reaches out.
Knocks it down. Saves the 4-year-old from distress. So, Andrew Podolak, great job. Good for you.
Way to pay attention to the game like a true fan is supposed to.
Andrew Podolak, you are my Clint Eastwood badass of the week. Now, we've got other miscellaneous sports discussion topics here for the next minute or two.
Hey, when are we talking golf?
We're getting there. We alluded to it, tying it all in with NASCAR. Let's talk soccer first.
I'm gonna tee off on you right now.
Dave can't wait to talk about the Masters, I guess. No, I just want to point out the fact that in this day and age where everybody wants a new stadium, right? Kansas City Royals want a new stadium. Oh, look, we're playing really good right now. Give us a new stadium. Everybody, the A's still waiting to get their new stadium approved for Vegas.
Nobody in Vegas wants them.
The one city where you would think there's no goddamn room left for a brand new stadium gets a new stadium. The NYCFC of MLS will get a brand new stadium right next to Citi Field, home of the Mets. $780 million is the price tag. It will seat 25,000. And ironically, Dave, even though it is going to be situated right next to Citi Field, the Yankees are part owners of NYCFC.
It's soccer. Who cares?
But how the hell do they have room for a stadium in New York?
I have no idea. They put it on top of another garbage dump.
Actually, what they did, which is interesting, there were a whole bunch of like shady auto body shops.
So they bought those up?
Yeah, they bought all those up next to Citi Field.
Oh, so all the chop shops are gone.
There you go. Yep. It's all the chop shops.
It's part of the cleanup.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it's chop shops. Yeah, exactly. How ironic is that to go
So your BMWs are safe once again in that area.
Chop shops to soccer. Oh,
I think I'd rather have a chop shop.
No kidding. At least you know those guys are cracking some beers instead of drinking frou-frou drinks watching a 1-0 game.
Although most of the chop shops are probably watching the soccer games now. So
yeah, that's true. That is true. All right, let's move on to the UFC. As I make Dave wait. Our buddy, we talked about him on the weekend edition last week. Conor McGregor.
Oh, God.
Star of Roadhouse.
He should never be in a Hollywood movie ever again.
I guess this is good news for you, Dave. He's coming back to the octagon.
I thought he was banned for life.
It's the first time since June of 2021. Conor McGregor fighting in UFC 303. So there you go. Maybe.
So is he and Jake Gyllenhaal finally going to go at it for real?
Yeah. Yeah, somehow I don't think Gyllenhaal's going to show up at this one. Maybe in the crowd, drinking a wine spritzer.
Maybe a White Claw.
That's an inside joke, kids. That's an inside joke. The White Claw joke is forever now an inside sports frenzy joke.
It's taken the place of Zima.
And you know I made that flavor up, right?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that crap.
All right, now let's move on to sports media. Over the weekend, it kind of blew my mind, and you listen to the score out of Chicago. CBS Sports Radio, no more. CBS Sports Radio,
I had
no
not
longer.
heard that. I had not listened.
Over the weekend, it has now been relabeled.
Odyssey Sports Radio?
Nope. The Infinity Sports Network.
Oh, for the love of God.
So you and I listen to JR a lot.
Yes.
He is now part of the Infinity Sports Network, not CBS Sports Radio.
So you're
but
not
the
going to...
TV channel stayed. So you still have the CBS Sports Network on your cable provider. But the radio, gone. They must have divested themselves of
the radio piece.
Assets.
So you're not going to... You're no longer... Are you going to have the Infinity Sports Minute now?
Good question. I don't know.
I mean, what are you going to do with all the personalities that
They
would
kept
do
them
their
all.
bits?
They kept them all, so they're still doing them.
So Boomer and Rome and everybody's
Yeah,
still
but
going
now
to do
they're part
their...
of the Infinity Sports Network, not the CBS Sports Radio Network.
Brain hurt bad.
Okay, you want to talk golf, Dave?
No, not anymore.
Oh, fuck you!
Nope, I'm done.
All right, time to talk about the
I'm
Masters.
out, Jerry. Oh, much like Tiger was for most of the weekend.
Oh, my God! Oh, God! Yeah, I knew what to do to piss me off. Talk about that fucktard. In all the coverage. Oh, my God, Tiger. Oh, Tiger.
Tiger sucked.
Tiger is no longer relevant. Just like I talked about Kyle Hendricks with the Cubs.
He's
no
done.
longer relevant.
Finished, kaput, adios.
Okay, so great. He makes his 24th cut. Let me point something out to you people. You people in the media who lie all the time.
You sit on a throne of lies.
They made a big deal about, okay, he made his 24th cut, which was a record, but they wanted to say it was his 24th consecutive cut made.
Wrong!
That's bullshit!
Wrong!
Because he skipped years!
That's
he
right.
Skipped years!
He skipped years, it's not consecutive.
But they're making it out like it's consecutive!
They're wrong!
I had to do my deep dive research on this because, I had to prove anything involving Tiger Woods wrong, erroneous, and a fallacy. And sure enough, there's multiple years. Of course, he had to skip the year when he got in the car wreck.
Because he was high on whatever.
But that doesn't count. It only counts if he actually attempted
Bullshit.
the tournament.
Bullshit.
So I think this is a false record. It's not consecutive. It is not consecutive.
Consecutive is every single year.
So he makes the cut. Oh, he does so well on Thursday and Friday.
No, he didn't do so well.
Well,
he was never in contention.
He was one over.
Yeah. 8 back, and how many other people were in that same spot?
But then Saturday hit. And Tiger went plus 10. And he posts an overall plus 16 over the 4 rounds. Last place.
His worst showing ever.
And you want to tell me he is still relevant. He is no longer relevant. Stop. And they wouldn't show Phil Mickelson again because, God help us, he's in LIV.
Yeah. God forbid you show any of the LIV guys who are not right up at the top.
Yeah, they must have pissed them off beyond belief that the first couple days they had to show Bryson DeChambeau because he was actually in contention. But you never got to see Brooks Koepka. You never got to see
it's
Phil
absolute
Mickelson.
Bullshit.
Because it's petty, bitter crap
By the
involving
PGA.
Yeah, involving the PGA versus Live. Now, all this overshadows, no, it does not overshadow the fact that we might be looking at the best golfer since Tiger Woods in his prime, as Scottie Scheffler notches an 11 under. And basically, as I said earlier in the show, he knew how to play golf on Sunday when everybody else forgot.
Yeah. He was the only one who actually showed up to play.
Easily cruises to his second green jacket. And again, could be the best golfer we have seen in a long, long time.
He is putting up some consistent performance.
But now, let's just say this. It can all come crashing down on a moment's notice, because we've talked about Jordan Spieth like this. We've talked about Brooks Koepka like this, when they had a nice little year or two run, and then all of a sudden they lose it.
Yep.
And while they still play good golf, they don't win the majors anymore.
Who else can we put in that category? Mr. Rory?
Yeah, another guy we didn't see much of this weekend, not because they didn't want to show him, but because he sucked.
There you go.
And finally, wrapping up the golf. Kudos, congratulations to one Vern Lundquist for finally ending his career doing golf. His final Masters.
Can we say goodbye, friend?
Well, that's Nance.
No, Nance. We're channeling Nance saying goodbye, friend, to Vern.
Okay. I'll let you have that one.
All right.
Now we move on. Towards the end of the show, you know the things we normally do, but this is going to be the most bizarre, odd, and long moments of silence segment we've ever done. Because you know who died. And we're not sending out thoughts and prayers, but we will discuss it. And of course, I am referring to former Heisman Trophy winner, former star running back for the Buffalo Bills, Nordberg in the Naked Gun movies. Trying to add a little levity to it before we start yelling and screaming. Yes, O.J. Simpson passed away this past week.
Dare we say finally? Dare we say one of the memes our buddy Jamie shared? If the casket fit, you must get in it.
Yeah. All I can say, number one, we've only been doing the podcast for about 3 years now, right?
Yeah, this is year 3.
But if we go back
into the vault.
Right. And we go back to when we were doing public access on cable, where we probably addressed it with a little bit more timeliness.
And vehemence.
I hate O.J. Simpson with a passion, and I hate everything that trial did to this country.
It was the most divisive thing to have happened.
And I don't think our country has ever recovered from it. I think that was the start of the divisiveness, the false claims of racism that still perpetuate our society to this day. And I blame it all on O.J. Simpson. And yes, he was guilty. Yes, he killed 2 people. Deal with it. It's not racism. It's a fact. But I dealt with it in a healthy way. You know what I did?
You cracked one open and poured out one for the homies?
Well, I cracked one open, but then what I did was I got on YouTube and I found 30 minutes worth of Norm Macdonald's greatest O.J. Simpson moments on Weekend Update.
And laughed.
I cried.
And
I
laughed.
laughed so hard, I cried. And the stories behind Norm Macdonald getting fired from Saturday Night Live because at the time one of the big shots at NBC was good friends with O.J. Simpson, and Norm Macdonald would not stop doing,
as he shouldn't have.
And they were just brilliant, for the most part, brilliant every weekend. How he would work it into the most innocuous, ridiculous story. Oh, and O.J. Simpson's still free, and he killed 2 people.
Norm was fantastic. God rest his soul.
I don't want to be arrogant, but I think that was about the healthiest way for me to deal. And I recommend it to all of you people out there who feel like me and Dave. Go out and watch 30 minutes of Norm Macdonald doing O.J. Simpson jokes on Weekend Update. You will not be sorry.
Nope. Go see Norberg in The Naked Gun getting riddled with bullets, going overboard, getting sandwiched in the hospital bed, and going down the stairs in a wheelchair and flipping over the railing at Dodger Stadium.
And just pretend that was real. And O.J. Simpson lived through every moment of pain.
Was it Dodger Stadium?
Whatever
stadium.
I think it was, yeah. And we actually have news on the weekend edition about the new Naked Gun. Do not forget to check out the weekend edition, your Saturday morning hangover cure, where Dave and I will review season 3 of Resident Alien, the new album from Mark Knopfler.
Yep.
And the movie Night Swim.
But we have other.
Yeah, we're not done yet. We actually have people we care about who died.
That's right.
One of the greatest managers, in my opinion, baseball managers of all time.
Whitey Herzog.
Yes.
Good Lord.
What, Royals, Cardinals?
Yep. One. Yeah, the guy was an incredible manager.
Yep. Now, one that you might find a little bit distasteful, but I find it very funny and intriguing. Because after O.J. Simpson, we've got to lighten things up a little bit.
Are we talking about Mr. Fritz Peterson with his infamous family swap with his Yankees teammate?
I think that's who we're talking about, Dave. Yes, Fritz Peterson swapped families, as Dave said, with a teammate. The thing that I find hysterical about this is they had a pact. They had a pact amongst the two of them, the Yankees players, that if it didn't work out for either one, they would switch back.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Fritz Peterson ended up with the other guy's wife, and they stayed together forever.
It worked out beautifully for them.
And the other
one, not so much.
And he tried to say, no, we got to swap back. And Fritz was like, no, I'm happy, dude. I'm happy.
We're a happy family now.
Yeah, and they stayed together until he just died.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wow, back in the 60s.
It wasn't just a swing and wife swapping sex thing. It was a full-on family swap.
Yeah, kids were involved.
Yeah.
And they agreed to, I'll take the kids.
Yeah, it was just a complete whacked out. It was supposed to have been done as a movie by Affleck and Damon.
Oh my God.
But they were threatened with a lawsuit by the Yankees.
And the interesting thing on the field is that Fritz Peterson actually won 20 games one year.
Yeah.
And was an all-star. So it wasn't like he was a schlub.
No, he was actually a damn good pitcher.
Right. All right.
And another pitcher, Ken Holtzman, threw 2 no-hitters for the Cubs and won 3 World Series with the A's.
Wow. Okay. Is this brand new? When did this happen? I did not hear anything about Ken Holtzman.
Oh, stupid ads. Just happened Sunday, the 14th.
Fucking ESPN does nothing. Nothing in terms of covering true sports news. I never saw anything about Ken Holtzman. Never saw anything about him passing away. Jeez.
So again, thoughts and prayers to these folks, family and friends.
Whitey Herzog, Fritz Peterson, and Ken Holtzman.
Carl Erskine, all-star pitcher during his Dodgers heydays. 2 no-hitters in the 50s. So, there you go. Pitchers dropping this past week.
Yep, and O.J. Simpson can burn in hell. So there you go.
And there we are. Now, as always, it's time to pivot to find out who is this week's dumbass of the week.
Yep, Red Foreman's dumbass of the week. We've changed things up, which I think was a brilliant move on our part.
We evolve.
Yep. I mean, dumbass or not was fun trying to do the game show thing, but
now we evolve the game show to take this week's dumbasses to find out who is the dumbass of the week.
All over the place here. A little bit of everything. Little bit of everything here this week. Now, of course, last week, Rashee Rice, Kansas City wide receiver, was one of our dumbasses, one of our contestants for Dumbass of the Week. This week, it's the guy he was racing. SMU wide receiver Teddy Knox, who was driving the second car in the Rashee Rice crash, where, of course, now it's been documented that Rice was driving 119 miles an hour. My mind is still boggled with these athletes and how they think they're invincible.
The only thing that surprises me is the driver of the Corvette wasn't from Georgia.
Yeah, that's Teddy Knox, yeah. Yeah, given the recent history of what the Bulldogs have done.
Georgia football players racing and getting speeding tickets and all the accidents.
Now, I guess this happens a lot. And Dave, I will defer to you because you probably watch a little, I'm not saying a lot, but a little bit more motorsports than I do beyond NASCAR. My attention span, I'll watch the Indy 500. Of course, we will be live there this year. But beyond that, I don't watch a lot of motorsports. So I guess this happens a lot in MotoGP.
I don't watch MotoGP.
Well, I guess one of their racers, Ivan Ortola. This happened at one of the tracks that we know down in Texas at
Coda?
Circuit of the Americas. There was a wreck. And, of course, Ivan Ortola tried to get on the wrong bike.
Oh! Not a good thing.
And the other guy had to basically push him off.
Get off my bike, you jackwagon. What are you doing? Get off of my bike.
So Ivan Ortola...
I hope he was pulled for a concussion, not recognizing his own ride.
No, I don't think that was the case at all. I do think he finished dead last, though. I think. Don't quote me on that, kids.
But I will say, if you look at MotoGP wrecks, as fast as those bikes are going, and when they go down, you see the guys, they just have to go limp and flop like rag dolls, because if they try and brace themselves, they're going to break something. So they don't even try and brace and stop themselves. They just go limp and roll with it and let whatever they wind up. And most of the time, they are in good shape.
Occasionally, you do know more about this than I do. See?
I don't watch it often, but I've seen enough. Now, there are the times where they will get run over by people behind them. Or if they get flown into any of the barriers, that's when shit gets real. And injuries take place.
But just don't go for the wrong bike.
That's right. Be aware of your surroundings.
Okay. An attorney is our next contestant.
Can
our
we already
next
say
contender.
dumbass of the week right here because he's an attorney?
Well, I think I'm saving the best for last. Out of our 4 contenders, I think I know number 4 is going to be it. But number 3 is a pretty strong
Just
contender.
because he's an attorney.
Malcolm Laverne. You know who Malcolm Laverne is, Dave?
No.
Malcolm Laverne is the attorney for the O.J. Simpson estate.
Oh, yeah, I read about this fucktard.
Yes. And now, I love, this is a multi-level dumbass situation here. Because initially, upon the announcement of the death of O.J. Simpson, Malcolm Laverne, O.J.'s attorney, vowed that the estate was going to fight with every last fiber of the being to not pay $33.5 million that is owed going back to the civil trial.
Yep.
To the Goldman and the Brown families.
The vehemence of this jerk fighting a legal settlement is asinine.
Yeah,
it frosted my ass when I was reading this crap.
Yeah, and then somebody must have gotten his ear and told him, okay, do you want to take over from OJ as the most hated man in America? Because that's where you're headed with this attitude. Because amazingly, a couple of days later, guess what? He flipped.
Oh, gee.
And Mr. Malcolm Laverne said, oh, we're not going to contest any payout to the Goldman and the Brown families.
Uh-huh. Somebody must have threatened his legal standings.
So, not only for his initial statements, as you mentioned, very nasty, very vehemently opposed to the payout, then he gets another little bit of a dumbass check mark for flipping after somebody got in his ear. Oh, no, we're okay. We'll pay it. Sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Legalese for you, kids. Legalese.
All right, finally, 4th and final nominee for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week. Let me take you back to last Friday night. I do believe that would have been the 12th of April.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Texas Rangers playing the Houston Astros. Let's talk about one particular at bat where a young man was simply
yes, yeah.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
This is already in the running for dumbass of the year.
Young man's simply trying to play a game as best he can. He's not a superstar by any stretch. But he, as a professional Major League Baseball player, thinks he knows the strike zone fairly well. Now, he can get fooled on a pitch once in a while. All those players accept that. First strike. Looks like it's outside by a good 6 inches.
Yep.
Next pitch, same, strike.
About 8 inches outside.
Next pitch, strike.
About a foot outside.
And who was the home plate umpire for that at bat, Dave?
That would be the worst umpire in the history of Major League Baseball. One, Angel Dumbass Hernandez. A man we have ridiculed and vilified
rightfully
time
so.
After time after time.
So. Rightfully so.
He is the worst. He is exhibit A on why unions are awful.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Again, another Meatloaf reference.
This guy should be gone. He has no business calling a game ever, anywhere, at any level.
And the fact that Major League Baseball cannot discipline him
is ridiculous. The guy shouldn't be calling T-ball games for 4-year-olds.
So now I think at some point, this is very, very early on with our new format here for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week. I will say this.
This is not the last time we will talk about Angel Hernandez this baseball season.
Hopefully the next time we talk about him, he is resigned. He's retired. But
oh, he's a vindictive prick. He's going to hang out.
Yeah, he's
for
already
every
sued
little
Major
bit.
League Baseball for discrimination.
And that got shit canned.
I was going back and forth between Angel Hernandez and Malcolm Laverne, but the fact that Malcolm Laverne at the last minute flip-flopped and said, we'll go ahead and pay the money, that gives the edge for the dumbass of the week to one Angel Hernandez in my book.
Anytime Angel Hernandez is involved, he's going to get dumbass of the week in my book.
He is an affront to, like you said. He makes unions look bad. He makes baseball look bad.
He's just pitiful and pathetic.
All right, kids, that's going to do it for your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast. Sports Frenzy 2.0 is done for another week, but are we?
Check out the weekend edition Saturday morning. We are your hangover cure.
We've got rock and roll. We have got movies. We've got TV and streaming, and an even bigger cavalcade of dumbasses to sift through.
If you can believe that.
So Angel Hernandez is our sports dumbass of the week. But who?
But does he hold a candle to the weekend?
Who will be the pop culture dumbass of the week? You'll need to tune in Saturday morning to find out. He is your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev.
As always, we had a great time doing this. We hope you had a great time listening. And if you do not, for some bizarre reason, want to listen to our pop culture rantings and ravings, we'll do this with sports in 7 days.
Say goodnight to the kids, Kev.
Good night to the kids, Kev.